up on this edition of the Newsfeed. Millennials are more politically active than ever, but are they actually showing up to the polls? Plus, Amtrak is looking to expand their lines from Roanoke to Christiansburg. And 50 Farms is open for the second year of Halloween Thrill Seekers. Those stories and more are just ahead.
Roll A, take A.
Hello, and thanks for joining us on this edition of the Newsfeed. I'm Riley Wyant. Millennials and young people are notorious for their pessimism and lack of interest for politics. However, they may be more interested than you think. With midterm elections less than a month away, extra effort is being put forth into getting more young people invested in politics and to the polls. According to an article by BBC, millennials are more politically engaged than previously thought, but they usually don't go to the polls and vote. Voting across Virginia will take place on November 6th. The deadline to submit an absentee ballot in person is Saturday, November 3rd. Virginia Tech is the top leading university in the state that welcomes the most international students each year. Can this small university town meet the demands for ethnic cuisines? Newsfeed reporter Brendan Nguyen has more in this report.
There's one thing that most students have in common. They miss homemade meals. But what if your home is thousands of miles away and you have to find a temporary substitution? More than half of internationals at Virginia Tech are from China, looking to eat cuisine that remind them of home. While there are a number of Chinese restaurants that offer these dishes, some may feel the menu is lacking in quality.
There's a lot, actually, in my opinion, because this is a small town and there's so many Chinese restaurants. But, I mean, there's a lot of choices, but their quality are, not perfect.
While there is a high demand for authentic Chinese food around Blacksburg, most Chinese restaurant menus will offer generic Chinese American dishes. Demands for authentic dishes are a challenge to meet for restaurant owners when the resources are hard to come by. Xuyan Lin, floor manager of Spice City, shares the goals and challenges of their restaurant.
We try to make it as good as possible, but resources are very limited around here, especially with different spices that you can get. So we're doing our best to provide good, authentic food for the people here.
Reporting for the Newsfeed, I'm Brenda Nguyen.
New River Valley residents are used to mom and pop shops on every corner. They may see an increase and more variety in the near future. Newsfeed reporter Danielle Jeffers joins us with more. Danielle?
Hokie entrepreneurs have an obvious connection to the New River Valley, but how does the community support their growth when they choose to build their businesses in the area? Creatives and manufacturers have established themselves in Virginia Tech's Corporate Research Center. Kevin Jones is a former NFL player who earned his place in the Virginia Tech Sports Hall of Fame in 2016. Jones holds 2 degrees from the university and is building his multidisciplinary design agency less than a mile from campus.
Chose to build a business here in Blacksburg because of the access to talent at Virginia Tech, but then also Radford. The New River Valley has a great support system.
Business owners in the area also have an opportunity to be more competitive with their pricing when compared to larger cities. As entrepreneurship and innovation grows, the New River Valley could become the next Silicon Valley. Keep your eyes open for changes in the New River Valley, especially in Blacksburg. Reporting for the Newsfeed, I'm Danielle Jeffers. Back to you at the desk, Riley.
Thanks, Danielle. Towns in the New River Valley continue to push for an Amtrak extension from Roanoke to Christiansburg. A passenger rail could provide alternative and possibly cheaper means for those traveling to the area. Newsfeed reporter Justin Keene has more on this development.
In the year since it was reopened, the Amtrak station in Roanoke has had over 58,000 boardings. With the great success in Roanoke, many towns in the New River Valley agree that there is a similar demand for a passenger rail in their area. A group known as the Blacksburg Partnership started the NRV Rail 2020 initiative. The partnership, along with surrounding towns and universities like Virginia Tech and Radford, seek to extend the Amtrak Northeastern service to Christiansburg. But according to Blacksburg Partnership Representative Lawrence Hinker, a passenger rail extension is no easy feat.
Rail lines are owned by private companies. Virtually all of these private companies are freight rail companies. And so to try to integrate passenger rail with freight rail is a challenge. And indeed, that's the next step for us.
The proposed Christiansburg station will serve the NRV's large student population. Many students who attend Virginia Tech and Radford travel from the north. Virginia Tech student Wendy Williams weighs in.
Yeah, I know a lot of my friends live out of state and just really far away, so I think it would be a lot easier and more affordable for a lot of students who don't live close if there was an Amtrak station in Christiansburg.
Early market studies predict that around 42,000 boardings could occur annually in the NRV. Amtrak is looking for somewhere between 10 and 20,000. So the potential is great, and it seems the station could thrive in the New River Valley. Reporting for the newsfeed, I'm Justin Keene.
Just ahead on the news feed, Pythian Farm's new haunted attractions in Christiansburg gear up for the 2018 season. And underfunded skate parks leave skaters to a less than adequate place to practice. That story and more after this break.
There was an old woman who lived in a shoe. She had so many children she didn't know what to do. She gave them some broth without any bread and kissed them all soundly.
Lights out. Good night.
And put them to bed. Hunger is a story we can end. End it at feedingamerica.org.
It's a short ride from your neighborhood to your naturehood. To find a neighborhood park or green space near you, visit discovertheforest.org.
They told me a bottle couldn't dream. That I would never become a superhero. But I learned how to fly. Just to come back in a new disguise and be the hero that I've always wanted to be.
Welcome back to the newsfeed. I'm Riley Wyant. The New River Valley area has lots to offer its residents in terms of recreational spaces. However, in recent years, skateboarding and skate parks have been overlooked and underfunded by local government. The town of Blacksburg banned skateboarding in public spaces in 1996, meaning the only place to legally skate is at a park. The Patrick Henry Park was built in 1996 and rebuilt in 2007. Since then, the infrastructure has decayed and declined, leaving skaters with less than adequate places to practice.
When you think of the park as a whole, it's quite small. I mean, you can definitely do a full run, but it gets a little crowded, and some parts of the park aren't really accessible because the pavement is pretty torn up.
The park in Roanoke is also dealing with problems in terms of safety and accessibility. The park is listed online as permanently closed, but people are still trying to use it. Without any funding from the city, the Roanoke Skate Park Initiative is raising money on its own and to try and renovate the old park. But with no new construction plans in sight, residents are left with few options for skateboarding. Journalists and media professionals have been under fire more than ever in recent years due to the tense political climate in America. I went to the Multimedia Journalism Career Fair over the weekend to investigate why these negative perceptions exist and what journalists can do to change the conversation surrounding the media. Take a look.
It's an interesting time for young prospective journalists entering the field. The terms fake news, media bias, and more have become the new stereotype of the industry in the years following the 2016 presidential election. Many media professionals think the public don't understand the effort and the ethics that go into a career in journalism.
Well, it's real easy to criticize if you've not done it.
General manager of WVVA News, Frank Brady, is one of those professionals. After being in the sphere of journalism for decades, he feels that outsiders may not see the work it takes.
It's not just handed to you. There's a lot of legwork and groundwork that goes into most of the news stories that we do today.
Sports anchor for WOAY, Nolan Knight, claims that truth-telling is the essence of a career in journalism.
The truth is we put out facts and the true story, otherwise we would not have our jobs. Our jobs is to do that and be a public servant.
In the current climate, one might expect young students to shy away from a career that carries such a negative reputation with great responsibility. However, several universities have seen spikes in applications in recent years. Virginia Tech has seen a 26% increase in applications to its multimedia journalism program in just 2 years.
I think the best part of journalism is the fact that you can tell people's story and put that out there. That stuff means a lot to people that are watching you, and that's kind of why I got into it.
Those interested in becoming a journalist often share this passion for storytelling, serving the public, and speaking the truth. The media's reputation may remain negative, but it seems as though that passion will continue to drive journalists into a future with the industry. Halloween is just around the corner, and the New River Valley's favorite fall attractions are revving up for the popular holiday. This year, a new attraction is gaining attention in Christiansburg. The Fithian Farms family brought their property in 2013 to open what is now Fithian Farms. For 4 years, the family prepared their haunted trail filled with homemade sets and props. Last year, they opened their doors officially for the first time. Fithian says her mother makes most of the props herself, and sometimes says her creations are too creepy for even her to stand to look at. Since last year, Fithian Farms has added even more to their mile-long haunted trail. They hope that their focus on creepiness instead of blood and gore will help them stand out among their competitors. The haunted trail is open from 7:30 to 11 p.m. on the weekends, but they have a less scary kids version of the park open from 5:30 to 7 o'clock. And that will wrap up this edition of the News Feed. If you have a story idea for the News Feed, let us know. Send us an email at thenewsfeednrv@gmail.com. And as always, you can connect with us at the News Feed, Twitter, and Facebook. Thanks for watching. I'm Riley Wyatt.